Osama Bin Laden in a suit. That's how a former Pentagon official just described Pakistan's army chief, Asim Munir. Now, the comparison isn't hyperbole. Munir's chilling threat made on American soil warned that if Pakistan goes down, it will actually take half the world down with it. Now, this is straight up nuclear blackmail, dressed in military fatigue and spoken at a meeting in Florida, in front of a stunned US military brass. And the fact that this statement comes from the military chief of the very country where Osama bin Laden was taking sanctuary, less than a kilometer away from its military cantonments, tells you exactly what is happening right now in Pakistan. And this is rattling the security establishment in America as well. They understand what Donald Trump is trying to do here. He is mainstreaming Asim Munir. He's mainstreaming Asim Munir's Hindu phobia. He's spoken about it more than once. And rolling the red carpet for Asim Munir has dire consequences for a rogue regime. And that needs to be now kept in mind. And that is why Michael Rubin, a former Pentagon official, has said that Munir's words expose a dangerous truth. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal isn't just unstable, it may soon be uncontainable. He's calling for Pakistan to be stripped of its major non-NATO ally status, labeled a state sponsor of terrorism. Now, what is all this and why is this happening? That needs to be kept in mind. Before we play out Michael Rubin, I want to say two things that needs to be now kept in mind, viewers. What Michael Rubin is saying is what New Delhi has been saying all along, something that the world needs to recognize. Here is a country who is the fountainhead of the instability in South Asia. And that is what Michael Rubin is now airing. Listen in.
Pakistan's threats on American soil are completely unacceptable. Pakistan is raising questions in many people's minds about whether it can fulfill the responsibilities of being a state or whether the time has come for it to end. In many ways, Pakistan's rhetoric, the field marshal's rhetoric, is reminiscent of what we've heard from the Islamic State and from Osama bin Laden. There's absolutely no reason anymore why the United States should consider Pakistan a major non-NATO ally.
All right, let's get in my colleague Shiv Arur for more on this, managing editor of NDTV, joining us live. Now, Shiv, this is something that India has all along been saying, that the instability in South Asia comes from Pakistan. Nobody knows who actually controls the nuclear switch in Pakistan. And this is what people like Mr. Rubin are actually saying.
You know, Osama in a suit, or more appropriately, Osama in a uniform, is perhaps the most appropriate phrase anyone could have thought of. And I'm not surprised that it's come from someone like a Michael Rubin, who has spoken out against Pakistan before Gaurie. But I think the concern that he has raised and the concern that you have raised is exactly right. The language being used by Asim Munir from American soil, talking about taking half the world down with him, if Pakistan is to come under attack, just 3 months after Operation Sindoor, in which their entire country was completely pinned down and paralyzed using non-nuclear conventional power, just tells you how insecure, volatile, and irresponsible Pakistan is. It also shows you how, the language of a suicide bomber, and I don't say this lightly, goes from the youngest cadet all the way up to a senior-most field marshal of the Pakistan army, when he talks about not destroying the enemy, but destroying half the world. So instability in the region, the fact that things continue to be volatile, the fact that India needs to continue to reiterate that Operation Sindoor is not over, it has only been paused, all flows from the fact that our neighbor, headed by a man like Asim Munir, who travels all across the world to be wined and dined by the United States, continues to be a major non-NATO ally, as Michael Rubin correctly said, of the United States, and still feels comfortable enough and confident enough to stand on US soil and issue dangerous nuclear threats with no US response whatsoever, tells you not only that is Pakistan the fountainhead of regional and global instability, but that he has powerful friends, and that India, walks a lonely road as far as navigating geopolitically what the next few days and weeks and months actually really mean. Remember, there are big meetings coming up that will, tectonically shift some of the other relations we have in the world right now. Trump and Putin, there are other meetings that are being planned as well.
Yes.
But as far as Pakistan is concerned, I don't think Osama and his suit is going to be reviewed or revived anytime soon.
All right, we leave it there. Shivarud, my colleague, decoding that for us in terms of the description, the impact, the perspective in terms of why this needs to now be handled carefully, in a calibrated manner by New Delhi. In fact, let's quickly now get in Bramha Chellaney for more on this, and also the big questions that we are posing as always on India Global. Let's put that big questions out as well, and then we'll get Bramha to answer some of them. First and foremost, is Pakistan the fountainhead of the reason for instability in South Asia? That's the biggest question. Next up, the second question that we ask is why is Trump emboldening Asim Munir? There are these red carpet welcomes that are happening for Asim Munir. He wined and dined with Donald Trump about last month, and now once again, just because he throws a Nobel recommendation letter. Next question that we are asking is, will India now re-evaluate its no first use nuclear doctrine? We've been very clear, very responsible that we are not going to start this. It's only when we are attacked that we have our nuclear weapons to defend. We need to change that, re-evaluate that, especially in the wake of Asim Munir's rant. And the last question, Bramha, that I'm going to put out is that should US take control of the nuclear switch of Pakistan? Now, the command and control centers of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal is a matter of grave concern, huge instability, which is why America needs to step in. Let me start by asking you, Bramha, what do you think about Asim Munir's rant?
Dr. Rubin is right. General Munir is indeed a rabid Islamist. He has exposed himself again and again as an advocate of violent jihadism. And for him to make the kind of statements that he has made on American soil was not only just undiplomatic, but actually underscores the fact that Pakistan under this guy, after all, he's the most powerful man in Pakistan. So Pakistan under this guy is headed toward even greater troubled times.
In terms of where this is headed from here on, India's options need to be calibrated. We also need to review our, no first use doctrine as far as the nuclear policy is concerned. And also we need to have a very clear assessment of how this is likely to impact our relationship with the US. After all, he's using American soil for these kind of rants.
You raised two very fundamental questions, Gaurie. On the first question, the Indian government declared that it achieved its objectives during Operation Sindoor, and that's the reason why it agreed to cease hostilities. But the developments that we are seeing since then suggest that Pakistan, and especially the Pakistan Army under Munir, feels even more emboldened. This suggests that what happened in Pentagon actually might be repeated, and repeated in a bigger way. So we have to be on guard, because it's clear, especially given the American backing, which has become now so open, the American backing of Pakistan, that the Pakistan Army will seek to do some major mischief against India. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is that the US under Trump is acting in ways that erodes the civilian authority in Pakistan, while further emboldening the Pakistan Army and this newly minted Field Marshal Munir. By hosting him at the White House, Trump signaled, and in fact he said so, that Munir is the most powerful person. So by hosting him, he further undermined the civilian authority in Pakistan. Prime Minister Sharif's government is a weak government. It's backed by the military, but it's weak. Everybody knows that in Pakistan. But what Trump has done is to further weaken that government. And then to make matters worse, the US has now hosted Munir for the second time in less than 2 months. So the US might be emboldening Munir to stage a coup and get rid of this weak government in Islamabad. This certainly is not good for regional security and certainly not good for Pakistan's own security.
All right, let's leave it there. Bramha Chellaney joining us on India Global. Thanks much for speaking to me. Well, bottom line, viewers, as far as Asim Munir's rant is very clear. Well, he is Hindu-phobic, he's a rabid Islamist, and he's a man who has never won a war and is the second field marshal of Pakistan. He's done that himself, he promoted himself on his own despite not winning any war whatsoever. Now, he is also becoming a cause of greater instability in South Asia. Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, anyway, is the fountainhead of the great tensions in South Asia, and Asim Munir is building on that. Now, with Trump already laying the red carpet for him, is he now not only mainstreaming Munir, but also laying the foundation for Asim Munir to be the next president? Already, Donald Trump has told the world that Shahbaz Sharif hardly exists. His government doesn't exist. It's anyways weak. But with him now choosing to dine and dine with Asim Munir, is Sharif's government now, for all practical purposes, powerless and defunct? Remember, viewers, every time there is a backing of Pakistan by America, the military gets more emboldened. And Pakistani military, every time when it gets emboldened, it only has one ramifications, that is the security network in the entire region gets further affected.